Before we begin, earlier today, or yesterday, depending on where you are in the world, I was playing on my Switch and another player had started asking me some questions because they recognized me from YouTube. And I don't feel that my answers were particularly clear, but I was a little busy at the time playing. So I thought I would clarify some of my answers here. The first place that I ever played DC was on the Switch. I intentionally created a US account so that I was able to access the US server on the Switch and play with my best friend, as that is where he was. I am aware that there has been a server merge of the two different Switch servers, which were US and EU. I have a video about that on my channel, and even though I am in Australia, I still use that US account to play because that is where my characters are. I then began to also play on the Xbox, as my best friend also had an Xbox by this time. We found that the server for the Switch was extremely laggy, and we thought perhaps playing on the Xbox would fix that situation for us, as the Xbox is more equipped to deal with the game. It was. We play on there also. That is the second location I started to play. It is a US account that I have on there also, even though that is unnecessary as there was only one server. My Xbox was configured to US before I started to play DC on it. So that is also a US account. Many of you are probably aware, I had previously been playing Elder Scrolls before I progressed over to DC. That game in particular, I was playing on the PlayStation. Now, I did not start playing DC on the PlayStation because my best friend was not on the PlayStation. He was on the Switch and later the Xbox, so that is where I was playing DC. However, at the time that I created my account on Switch, I also created a DC account on the PlayStation, so I could say that my PlayStation account on the EU server has existed for just over 4 years, I believe. But it was not played. It just existed. I created a character, I had a bit of a look, that was all, because where I was playing was the Switch and then the Xbox. So I've had an EU server account for quite some time. My characters on the EU server of PlayStation haven't had a lot of love, okay? There's a couple of them that I've played through some things, but they haven't done a lot of leveling. They don't have full artifacts. They're not really there. They've just been played with a little bit for maybe the last year. Also over the last year, and I will link this video below, I have created a US account in order to be able to download the US version of DC on my console so that I can access both through the same account. So that original account that I had that was on the EU server can now access both the EU server and the US server from that one account. And I have put a little bit of effort into my hero and a little bit my villain on the US server for PlayStation characters. However, that does not mean that the PlayStation is the main place that I play. It is in fact not. Xbox I play more. Switch I'd say maybe I play about the same. Actually no, that's not true because I play through 2 characters on the Switch and there's only one I've really been putting any focus to on the PlayStation. And the one that I'm putting focus into is on the US server, not the EU server. So, to sum up, main place that I play, Xbox. Main accounts that I play on, all US. PlayStation is not my main. But I do exist on every server. What does that say about me? Let's not talk about that. Hopefully that explained everything clearly, I hope. And we should probably actually start the video.
G'day, lovely people. Today I am playing on my Switch. I am on my villain, and we're here because I'm going to show you how you can run through the Elite Solo with a character who's not very built up. So let's have a look at my character's stats, shall we? We shall. Okay, so for starters, my character only has quite low-ish artifacts. I have my solar amplifier at 116, I have Grim at 100, and I have Strat at 79. I will say these are the artifacts that I tend to use for my soloing build. So I have one build that I use that is damage, that I use mostly for soloing, and this is it. When I am doing my, what I call my boss build, which is one that I tend to use when I'm in groups, or I swap between my soloing while we're doing ads, and then as soon as we hit a boss, I'll swap to the next one. I don't use these. I have artifacts that I swap between, so Solar Amplifier usually is not in that mix. I will use Grim or Quizlet, depending, and I will use Strat, sometimes with Trans, sometimes with Gem.
Also, if I'm leaning heavily into superchargers and making that the main focus of my build, I will use the Quizlet, the Eye of the Gemini, and Scrap of the Soul Cloak, along with, I think one of them Black Adam, but a couple of allies who have some interesting supercharged passives.
So it just depends on what's going on in that. And I will say, ideally, for doing this solo load-in, I would swap over to that particular build to do the bosses. But as I don't have anything done for that, this is what we're going to work with. I've intentionally chosen a character that I haven't built up very well to do this with, so that I can show you it's actually a little bit easier than, like, they call it elite, but I mean, I can run through it with characters who are not elite. I don't know what even elite means. It seems subjective, but this solo is easy to run through with basically any character. I've done it with characters that aren't fire. I did it with my Quantum. It's easy. It just takes a while. That's all. So let's run through it. I'll just show you my stat points also. So these are my stat points. I have 178 on this character. Not much at all. I've done kind of a split between the health and the damage because I need her to survive. That is something I just standard do anyway. I start out with 50 in damage, then do 50 in tank. I should say, I do 50 in might, and then do 50 in health. I don't know why I've put the 7 there. I suspect I needed it for something and then saved the build by mistake. But normally I wouldn't have that there and I'd fix it up. But as we're just trying to run through it with whatever I've got going on, this is what we're using, okay? She's not strong, but we will get through this solo just fine. So you want to go to custom play in your on duty menu. For those of you who don't know, head to solos. Oh, I'm already on solos. That's lovely. And we want elite. Now, you do have to have a minimum CR rating of 437, but apparently you can just buy those now. So, I should probably explain that. Okay, so over here in the marketplace, they have a new tab. In that tab, they have various currencies. Here you can see we've got source marks that we've always had access to, but now they're under a different tab called currency. You can purchase the Coney coins, which is the current currency for the newest episode, which means you can purchase high CR rating armor without doing play. So, I don't know. Then you can also get the previous episode and the previous episode, which I believe are the only episodes that still have non-source marks for their currency. So my question is, why? Because a new episode with new currency like this used to be incentive to play the game to get your CR rating up. Well, now, you can buy your CR rating.
You do still need to gain renown in order to purchase elite items. So at least that incentive is still there.
I don't know how to feel. I don't like that. I feel like the whole point of having the different currencies and having the run-through of the new episode with those different currencies is that you have to play to earn to get your CR rating. Everyone is equal with that. People who put money into the game, people who don't, all have to play the game to get their CR. Well, now that's not true. And I don't like it. The next step, I think, is they're going to start selling off stat points, and I will be honest with you. If they start selling some kind of a pack that has stat points in it from the early on episodes that I haven't played on the PlayStation, for example, I will probably buy it. And then all those people who put all those years worth of effort into getting all of those stat points through all the different feats they had to complete, that is so unfair to them. And I would do it. I would so buy that. I won't buy this. I will play the game for my CR rating, but I'm sure a lot of people will purchase the currency rather than play the game now because that's an option, you know? I dislike that it's an option. I don't think they should have done that. I think it's a massive cash grab and it decreases the incentive for playthrough of the game. So, it also makes it hard because one of the things that was of great benefit is that when a new episode comes out, everyone is playing that same content, so you're going to get into the alerts, you're going to get into the raids. But if people start paying their way to the top and don't need to rerun them because they've completed all their feats, people who haven't completed it yet won't be able to get in. I know we're not quite there yet, but it seems like that is on the horizon. So, I don't really like the purchasable currency very much. I'm not a person who doesn't put money into this game either. I'm saying this from the perspective of someone with, you know, accounts on every console, who has a membership in multiple locations, who will purchase things because they look cool. Okay, this is the fun thing I do. I don't go out anywhere, so this is where my money goes for my fun thing. So I'm not someone who wouldn't pay for things, but I find the currency so that you can get a higher CR faster kind of, I don't know, is insulting the right word? It's a little bit like, well, why? I'm gonna stop ranting. You need to have a minimum 437 in order to play this elite run. Okay, so let's go to custom play. Tier 7 elite. Let's jump in. I thought I was getting another phone call for a second there. My phone is on silent, but I have the screen facing me so that if anything happens, I can pick up. But let's go! Now, I honestly can't remember if I have played the solo on this character or not yet. On the Switch, I have one character who I tend to focus on, but, you know, for the purposes of playing a character whose stuff is not very high leveled, I wanted to go with this one for you.
Not that it really matters that much, but for the sake of being accurate, since having played through this, I have actually started to focus on 2 of my characters on the Switch, not just one.
We're going to deactivate film clips.
So,
here we go.
Harley Quinn got recruited by some insane grandma from another planet into a girl band called the Furies.
Yeah.
Things went pear-shaped when old Granny made her fetch this thing called the Splinter of Destiny. And here we are now. Ew. Step 1. Convince a parademon to reveal Harley's location. Check. Step 2. Persuade said parademon to teleport us to wherever we are. Also check.
Yep.
Step 3. Find Harley. In progress. Know your way around here?
Yes, I do now, yes. Okay, so let's go through. What you want to do with these ads, obviously, try to keep them separated, keep your distance, be careful. It's really simple. It just takes time, that's the only thing. I find it interesting that they call this elite because it seems like a very elevated term, like only elite players can do this, but honestly, I don't know if I would qualify as an elite player. I certainly don't have any characters who are endgame worthy except maybe one character who is on here, which doesn't matter anyway because no one's playing endgame on the Switch because of the lag. So, you know, I don't think I have that. I play for fun more than I play for leveling up, you know? I want to just have fun, so if I don't level my characters or I don't have some stat points, that's okay, but if I get them, I'm happy, you know? So, you can, if you're not the kind of person who is trying to build up your character so much and put so much effort into that aspect of this game, you can do this, honestly. I might even run through it with a non-fire character because the fire character does have the benefit of self-healing, and I've done this with characters that aren't very high leveled with their stat points or with their artifacts and without the self-heal ability. So not even a heal. I did it with 2 mentals, so I've done it with 2 controllers. One of which was mental and the other of which was quantum. And it's
Step
relatively
3.
simple.
Check. What did I tell you? Giggles and mayhem. Now all we have to do is get to it. Let's roll.
Alright, let's go. Oh, I obviously have been here before too. With this character, but it would not have been in Elite. This is the first time she's running Elite.
Now hand it over, or else.
Trust this boom tube. I wish, honestly,
Let's find a way around.
I know we overshot it. I know what he's saying is a reaction to the, you know, trusting the boom tube. But I would have preferred if it says trust that boom tube, because when I first saw it, the first time I played through, I was like a little apprehensive of it. I was like, so what's gonna happen on the other side? And I'm a little disappointed. It's a little anticlimactic. Let me get away from this wall. In that I would have liked something to be more, you know, maybe we fall, like we go through the boom tube and then we fall down into the area.
It seems that maybe someone needs to stop being distracted by the sound of their own voice.
Maybe we fall down into the area and then suddenly there are enemies right upon us. I mean, the enemies were kind of right upon us here, I'm not gonna lie. But it's not exactly what I was expecting or thinking. Oh, I did also forget to say, I have not charged my generator. That is intentional. We're going to run this with those not functioning, okay? You can do it without. It just takes time. You don't need high-level artifacts. You don't need to have a lot of stat points. And you don't need your uplink device or your allies or even
Look,
your...
another theory. She might have a tool I can use to fix Motherbox. Let's convince her to hand it over.
You don't need your henchmen, you don't need your uplink device, you don't need high artifacts, and you don't need high stat points to get through this elite run, honestly. So this is on purpose. Now, one of the pieces of advice that I think should be taken, I'm not sure if this is exactly what my best friend meant when he said drag Lashina, because he played this through on Elite before I did, and that was his advice to me. And I was like, great idea. I don't know if he meant to do it as far as I'm about to do it, but I take her all the way to the end room, because then the ads often, but not always, spawn in the hallways and do not come for your character. They just hang out there. So as long as you can get her to come with you, which I've got to say is really easy, she kind of just chases you. You can almost hit her once and run, but I have had a couple of occasions where that has not worked, and I had to come back and just shoot her a couple of times to get her to move. But this makes it so much easier. One, it gives you more space for your battle, I suppose, and also decreases the likelihood of these ads coming at you. So often I will end up with no ads. Occasionally, 2 of them will end up down here. So drag her, get her all the way down here as fast as you can, doing the least amount of damage that you possibly can, and it becomes much easier to defeat her. So this will take time, okay, because I do not have an uplink, I do not have henchmen, I do have my pet. I was questioning whether to take that out, but I'm just going to use it. It's only a tier 1, it's nothing special, I'm going to pop it on. So we'll let my Phoenix do a little bit of help. It does look cool, you know? Looking cool is important. That's why capes exist. They exist to look cool, not for any practical purpose. So now, you can see, you can come in here, you've got space, you're not going to get all cramped up, your camera's not going to get caught on a wall and make it difficult for you to see, you're not going to have any ads attacking you at the same time, you can just focus on Lashina. I will also say be a little careful. On 2 run-throughs, I have had Lashina kind of reset and run all the way back to the start and go again, even though I was almost at her end. So just be careful with that. I've found that if I block her this way, like at the entrance like this, I haven't had that happen. I don't know if that is correlation or causation, but it certainly has helped. Come on, there you go. Woo, that was close. It has helped me to stand in that entranceway. I will just drag her a bit further in because otherwise I'm standing too close to her at that entranceway and getting hit a little too much. I was nearly down, but we're not going to go down. We're going to be fine. But I will say, because I'm playing fire, I obviously have an advantage in that I can backdraft and heal myself, and I can absorb heat, heal myself while I'm damaging her and moving. So I will say fire is the absolute best to solo with, I think. I don't know that everyone will agree with me, but for soloing purposes, fire is my absolute favorite. I must say fire is my favorite for everything though, so it's because it's where I started and it was fun, and now I just love it because it's nostalgic too, you know? There we go. And look, I only have Crypto as my ally that I summon. I forgot to look at the allies that I have in my passives. I will go into those in a moment as well and show you, because I'm sure they're not anything special. Just let Lashina go down. Okay, Lashina is down. We're just going to look in my allies so I don't forget. It's the cheapest ones I could possibly have in there, okay? I've got Calculator Bot, Oracle, and Crypto. Okay, this is not a good build. This is the start of a build. So let's grab that. Get our armor piece. Grab that. And you've seen. You can see red dots on the minimap down there. They're not going to come. You're safe now. None of the ads are any issue for you. So let's do this. Oh, lovely. We're going in a circle. Next. I will say, I have played through this solo so many times now, and this is getting to be quite monotonous. It literally just delays me. It's not difficult, with the exception of my first run through when it was kind of glitchy and I couldn't see anything properly. Also, I was lagging a lot. This has been easy and really boring. Right? It's just a very simple, it's not complicated at all. I don't like it very much. I mean, I get that they're trying to put something in besides battling. Oh. But it's just like a massive time waster. Oh, we're done. Mother box. I don't like it.
She fights like a true fury.
Now trust this boom tube. See, I would have liked if something happened here too. But that's fine. At least we ended up where we wanted to end up. I feel like this solo goes pretty fast too. I feel like all of this content goes a little bit faster than I would like when you're in event mode, but I mean it is event mode, maybe that's intentional. But this is not event mode. This specifically is elite. My character is not good. The only benefit she really has is that she's fire. Okay, so she can self-heal. That's the only benefit. She doesn't have good allies. She doesn't have good artifacts. She doesn't have good stat points. She doesn't have her uplink device or her henchman available. She's just, you know? But I can complete elite with her. Why even call it elite? I don't know. It's just so simple. All it is time consuming. They should call it long. Would you like to play the short one or the long one? This is the long one. I think Multiverse has a point, and that is why Elite Plus exists. But I still find this a little ridiculous, that this is so easy to do, you know? But I would recommend if you were fire, chuck these loadouts in. Doesn't matter what else you've got, this will help you out. You'll be able to get through it easily, with most likely no knockouts for your character as well. I think when I played Mental, I had one knockout. But I think I've only done the solo in Elite once on her. And Quantum I had no knockouts. So this is pretty easy. It's just time consuming, you know? I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something, but this is very, very simple. You know? I would say if you're going to, I don't think I'll do a whole nother playthrough because I don't want you guys to get bored. But if you're going to use another character to run through the elite version of this who is low level on everything and they're not fire or a healer where you can get some self-heals in, I would recommend chucking Nubia in. It's been a little handy. I have it on my Quantum, I believe, while I'm running through this. It's not even leveled. She's just level 1 still. I've done nothing with her, but she was just able to get my health up a little bit during that time. So if you have collected Nubia because you did those wondrous capsules, you have her available. I mean, it helped me. it was more beneficial than having something that did the damage, to be honest, because it just picked me up at those times where my health bar dropped and I was out of, I nearly said pop. It's not called soda cola, because my friend and I call it pop. I was out of pop, you know, which is funny because in Australia, we don't call soft drinks pop, we call it soft drinks. We don't call it soda, it's soft drinks, because the drink is soft for, I don't get it either. It's not soft, it's bubbly. It should be called bubbly, but that's the name for champagne, so I don't know. I talk too much. We're nearly there. But see what I mean? How is this elite, guys? How is this elite? It's too easy. It just takes time. That's it. Which I have. I have time today. I don't often have time, but this week I do have a little bit. So let's do it. Let's absorb. See, that is where I would have quickly popped Nubia if I was on someone who couldn't self-heal and would have hopefully got a little bit of health there. I mean, also you can use your supply drop, but I find that that's a slow increase, whereas Nubia's, even though it takes a second, it's a quick increase on the health.
Unlike the supply drop, Nubia can actually allow your character to move around while you're accepting the healing, and she does damage to the enemy at the same time, whereas the supply drop kind of keeps you in place. I do think when I was playing my mental character also, I had 2 shields in, so I had the one that comes with the mental ability already, and then the hard light shield as well, so that I could keep her shields up basically all the way through, just to give me that little bit of extra protection. But I believe on Quantum, I did not need that.
So, I mean, up to you guys what you want to do, but I found it beneficial, so it might be more beneficial to you. It was more beneficial beneficial to me to have Nubia in on my Quantum for that quick pop of health than it was to have my fully leveled Crypto in doing damage during. So, I don't know if that'll be the same for everyone. I mean, everyone's run through is different, but hopefully that's helpful. Look! We did it! That was elite. Come on now. And I think I got, what, knocked out once because I was chatting away. One knockout, but honestly, that was my own fault. That's not because it's impossible to do in one shot. You can totally run this in one shot. That was so easy. Elite. With my, I was going to say crappy character. I don't want to call my character crappy. She's lovely. She's just not there yet, you know? All the effort that's been put into her has just been running through every daily content to get her CR up. She hasn't done much else. So. And she is literally on 437. She is on the lowest CR rating possible to do the elite. I mean, why so easy? Am I wrong on this? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I have like a very strong opinion on the currency, which I feel is unnecessary, kind of silly, and is a demotivator for playing the content. It especially doesn't help those who, one, cannot, or two, are unwilling to pay for that currency, because anyone who does has a reason to not play the content through, which means less people play, which means less likelihood of getting into the content, which means less gameplay overall. This was the incentive to play, and now I feel like it's kind of gone. I personally probably won't be buying that sort of thing, maybe for a video if I need to, but for my own character building, I'm not going to buy my CR rating. I can just play through the content. But other people will, you know? I don't like it. I personally think that was a poor decision, and I don't like it. I think the only motivation for doing something like that is money. And that sucks, you know? And at the same time, I feel that these elite runs are not, I mean, if I can get in and do it with this character, I will say if you try to load into elite with a character who doesn't have everything that every other player wants for an alert or a raid, they will boot you or say, sorry, you're not there, and say go away, which, you know, I completely understand, it's fine. And I don't usually try to load into an alert or a raid that's elite with a character like this, even though I can play through it with a character like this. They want the best of the best in that sort of thing, and same for Elite Plus, a lot of the time. Depending on your console as well, because there are some people who just run it and don't care, and some people who are very intent on we need the best of the best to run through this as quick as possible and aim for these feats, you know, things like that. Fair enough. But I feel like this elite, every elite solo I ever run, I can run with my, like, lowest character, with the correct CR rating, but low in artifact, ally, what I'm using in my loadouts tray, because I purposely avoided my henchman and my uplink device. I still run through it. My pet is tier 1. This is not a good build. And delete is easy. It's really easy. I would have run it with no knockout if I didn't get distracted while I was talking, you know? That's my own fault. But you can run it through. It's so simple. Why is it called elite? I don't know. Anyway, hopefully this is encouraging for those of you who don't think you can run the elite. You totally can. You absolutely can. It's really easy. And if you play something that doesn't self-heal, just chuck in stuff that's going to help you out. Maybe the supply drop, it is a little slow though. I find Nubia more helpful. Even at her lowest level, I find her more helpful because she's a bit quicker. But get your stuff in that's going to shield you or heal you, and then just run it. You might get a couple of knockouts, but you can make it to the end, no problem. You don't need a good character for this. You don't need good allies for this. You don't need good anything. You really don't. At least the solos are so easy. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting. I know, very rare occurrence, and say, have a good one, guys.